Welcome, Music City Fire fans from Muskegon, Michigan. Steve Olivas in your ears and intern Cody in your eyes, as we have recruited one of the local kids to run the camera. He's doing a great job. Thanks for tuning in. We've got a bunch of you tuning in for the inaugural season of the Music City Fire Arena football team. I'll be bringing you the games this year, and we are opening up in the rafters, literally. When the play goes from left to right, you'll see young Cody's going to have a problem keeping up with action in the near corner, but we'll do the best we can, and I'll do my best to call the game. I'll hang on as we're going to do the national anthem. We'll just put it on pause for a second, have everybody stand and pay their respects. We are locked in and ready for football. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is going to be an exciting year, and this may be our most challenging game of the year, as the Ironmen almost ran the table last year, losing only to the team that ended up winning it all, the West Virginia Rough Riders. The Ironmen have been an established team for a few years, and as you know, the Music City Fire, under head coach Joe Campbell Sr., coming in their inaugural season. This is game 1 of 8 during the regular season, and hopefully we'll play a couple of playoff games after that. I'm looking forward to big things, but I know, talking with the players and the coaching staff before the game, one of the things that they were quick to mention was they're just trying to assess, once we're under game conditions, who's going to rise up as leaders and who may fall back a bit. They've got their ideas, and we're going to have some football. A blustery, cold day outside in Muskegon, Michigan. The team came in last night. They got here close to midnight local time. They were able to relax this morning and engage in some team-building activities. As a lot of the players were talking about during the team dinner tonight, many of them know each other from their college careers. As one of the nice things about the arena leagues is that there are requirements on the roster to have players come from the local talent pool. Trying to have us fish in the pond, try to create a fan base. A lot of the fans around Middle Tennessee know the players. Our first home game, if anybody is looking forward, we'll see how it goes today, but we're down at the Williamson County Expo Center, and we will be in on April 4th against the Tampa Tornadoes. It's going to be a Saturday night. That'll be a fun game. Hopefully we'll get things rolling here today in Muskegon, and a couple of quirky rules when it comes to arena football, and I'll explain those as well as I can when they come up. One of the things you may notice right off is this is almost like playing football on a hockey rink. The dimensions are identical to a hockey rink. And Muskegon, of course, we're playing in the Muskegon Lumberjacks home arena. This one holds about 6,000 people, and the crowd looks to be pretty healthy. Coming in here, there's a lot of people in the seats around midfield, and There is an enormous bar, as Michigan is no stranger to making sure everybody stays warm when it's cold in the winter. A lot of folks hanging around the bar and around the periphery of the seating area. As with hockey, you can sit almost on what would be the glass, but here it's practically on the field. And the fortunate thing is, you get to be up close and personal, and the unfortunate thing is you might take a player home. Players do get crushed into those boards and can go over the top. You've got to have your head on a swivel even when you're in the stands here in the Arena League. Tennessee, I'm not sure if I'm going to call them Nashville or Tennessee or Music City, but they are going to receive the opening kickoff, and we are off in the 2020 season. Number 15, Michael Green picks that one up. Actually, that's not 15. I think it is. Yeah, Michael Green takes that one up to about the 10-yard line, where Music City will take over and go on offense. They're running from left to right. The West Michigan Ironmen in their, burnt orange, brown uniforms. Music City comes out wearing their whites. And we'll see what Coach Campbell has in store for his first play from scrimmage. Coach Campbell, a little bit nervous about coaching again. He was pretty upfront about that before the game started. P.J. Settles is going to be the quarterback. We've got a couple of quarterbacks on the roster, and as you can see already, there is a rule difference from the NFL. Settles hits his receiver, knifing across the middle. That is number 1, Pal Smith. We've got a first down. Tennessee, as I mentioned before, I don't know if I'll call them Music City or Nashville or Tennessee. One of the problems I'm going to have up here in the booth is those numbers on the backs of the Music City Fire are licks of fire themselves. A little bit difficult to see. Settles in the shotgun. There is one receiver that's allowed to be in motion, moving toward the line of scrimmage. Settles hits number 5, Dre Hall, with a completion for about 4 or 5 yards. We'll call it 2nd and 5 coming up near the 25-yard line. P.J. Settles, 6-foot quarterback out of Rhodes College. Just watching him in practice, the few practices I was fortunate enough to attend, he's got a rocket for an arm. And Settles is quick, back in the pocket. Music City lines up to the right, hash mark, receiver in motion. That one might have been offside. No flag on the play. Settles a little short in that passing attempt. The ball skips through, incomplete. We'll have 3rd down and 5. 15-minute periods, just like in the NFL. The coaching staff able to come out onto the field, as you see P.J. Settles going over, talking to one of the Music City coaches who's standing in the background. Standing behind the play, similar to if you've ever been in a middle school football game, the coaches are allowed to kind of stand behind the huddle and behind the play, teaching the players. All right, Settles on his first 3rd down. Number 1, Pat Smith is in motion. Settles in the pocket, takes a look, flush to the left. Takes a look, nobody open. Settles goes down at the 25, and it's 4th down. Tennessee, we'll see what Coach Campbell decides to do. There are no punts in the Arena League, so we either go for it on 4th down or they make a field goal attempt. And if you miss the field goal, the ball is live, coming off the nets, which extend wide around those goalposts, which are only 9 yards wide. Unlike the NFL, which the goalposts are much wider. Tennessee going for it on 4th and 5. We're ticking down to 11:30 remaining in quarter number 1. Almost said Iron City. A little bit of confusion in the background. Music City in a formation that wasn't going to work. The coaching staff up here in the broadcast booth yelling for a timeout. We've got coaches from both teams surrounding Cody and myself. We are the dividing line. If there's a rumble that breaks out, Cody and I, we're in the middle of the action. Music City coaches to our right, West Michigan to our left. So Tennessee burns a timeout here early in the first period. So you can imagine some of the players have a good bit of Arena League experience, and some do not. And the rules, they tweaked a little bit to accommodate the indoor field. I mentioned the walls a little bit ago. I'll get back to those in a second. We'll see how Tennessee fares on 4th and 5. Settles up under center, takes a couple steps back. Pat Smith in motion again, comes around to the left. The snap perfectly timed. Settles, hits his man. Pat Smith with the reception, gets taken into the wall for the down, and Tennessee continues to march. So here's the deal with the walls. The receivers can touch the walls and not be called out of bounds, but if they're driven into the wall, that is out of bounds, and they're considered down. That made sense. Sometimes it can be a bit of a judgment call by the officials. Settles under center this time. Timing play to Pat Smith. That one bounces off of his helmet. Oh, that's unfortunate. Intercepted by Western Michigan's number 36, Daniel Goodrum. Boy, Settles hit his man. The pass was there. Bobbled just long enough by Smith. It actually went off the top of his hat. A la that play by the New York Giants in the Super Bowl a few years ago. I'll think of that fella's name in just a few minutes here. But that was picked off the top of his helmet by Goodrum, and Goodrum returned it a few yards. It's to the 20, we'll call it the 19-yard line. Turnover Tennessee. Western Michigan marching from right to left. Now, another unusual rule for the Arena League is the way that the linebackers are allowed to move. We'll see how this goes as time goes on. Travis Zajkowski is going to Travis Zajkow. Delay of game is the call. Flags down. I'm going to call it Zajkowski. I don't believe the J is pronounced in those names. Travis Zajkowski, 6'1", 205 quarterback. Collects his team. Big turnover for Western Michigan, but they've already gone backwards 5 yards. It'll be 1st and 15 as they break the huddle. Zajkowski in the shotgun. In motion is number 3, Keandre Banks-Craig. Zajkowski hits him. Boy, that was caught against the boards, and they're calling it incomplete. A little bit of pushing and shoving afterwards, and a flag goes down. Tennessee's Jonathan Schuler was engaged with him on the wall, which has fallen. A little chunk of wall has come down on the sideline. Referees conferring in the middle of the field. Not sure what the call is going to be. Both teams were pushing and shoving with each other. We'll see what the call is. All right. The penalty is on West Michigan. Unsportsmanlike conduct after the play. So they march that ball back. They're calling it 2nd and 15. It's going to be a little bit more than that, I'm afraid. Back in the snap for Zajkowski. He sends one deep and past the scoreboard. That one falls incomplete, but we've got a penalty on the play. Another flag down. This one's going to be holding against Tennessee as Music City commits their first penalty of the game. That's on they said number 17. That's obviously not the right player. Ball comes back out to the 15, call it the 16-yard line. It's an automatic first down, so we'll have 1st and 10 for West Michigan. The ball is actually further back than it was when they took over after the interception, but after a series of penalties, we're going to start again, 1st and 10. Zajkowski in the shotgun, near side. Little shuffle pass out to the end. He's immediately wrapped up. That's Dakota Smith for West Michigan, and a bevy of Music City players all over him. And now the Fire are going to get penalized, probably unsportsmanlike. We'll see how it goes. Tennessee swarmed the running back. Dakota Smith had nowhere to go, and Tennessee is fired up. One of the challenges of the coaching staff, of course, is controlling the emotions of the players. They're calling that on Joe Hawkins, number 4. There were several of the Music City players that could have been called with that one as they continued to pummel the runner after the whistle. Tennessee, very aggressive, though. Coaches want that kind of aggression. They don't like the penalties, of course, but Tennessee looking forward. I keep saying Tennessee. Just a little easier for me to say than Music City. You know who I'm talking about. Music City is ready to go. 1st and 10 again. Ball on about the 23-yard line. Zakowski in the shotgun. Runner in motion as Mike wins. Zakowski looking back, rolls to the side, sends it downfield, and Donnell DeMario just planted. Banks Craig into the first row. That was one-on-one crime as both number 1s. No, wait a minute. That wasn't number 1 for Music City. Sorry about that. All right, incomplete pass, and a fan got a souvenir. A little bit of sweat coming off of the players. We're going to reboot and do the whole thing all over again. 2nd and 10. Looks like we've got a TV timeout. There will be several promotional timeouts throughout the game, and this first one, they're starting to repair the wall on the other side. For this first one, I will mention the linebacking situation. So there are 2 linebackers in the defensive backfield. They're called a Jack and a Mac. Now, when they were originally conceived, this is back in the late 80s when arena football first started, they were called Jack and Jill. And then at some point in time, somebody decided that calling one of those large men Jill probably wasn't a good idea for the long-term health of the announcers. So now they're called Jack and Mac, and each one has a different zone that they're allowed to cover. The Mac linebacker has to stay in the box, what's called, and it's roughly between the hash marks, if you can kind of picture that. It goes left or right, depending on which side the ball happens to be on, and they are allowed to hit the A-gaps, which is both sides around the center. They're more there for contain. The Jack linebacker roams on the outside, is able to pick up anyone out of the backfield or a tight end if one is eligible for the pass. So the linebacker's a little bit different than the football you may be accustomed to, and that's what we're working with in the Arena League. We're back in action, clock running, under 9 minutes to go, still in the first quarter. Zakowski takes the pass, hits his man across the middle. One of the Fire players had fallen down, and that freed up Craig Banks. Keandre Craig Banks wide open for that one. The Fire puts him down where he caught the ball. We're going to have 1st and 10 again. This time we're all the way down. Oh, my apologies. There was a flag down well behind the play. I was looking toward the pass reception. As it turns out, behind the play, one of the Fire spiked the quarterback, and unnecessary roughness or roughing the quarterback, my apologies. Personal foul, roughing the quarterback is the call. So we'll tack on a few extra yards to the completion. And it'll be 1st and goal from the 8-yard line. West Michigan lines up. They've had possession for quite a while. It's been by fits and jerks they've been coming down the field, but they're now in the red zone. Time elapsed just as the ball was snapped. Zakowski throws a dangerous ball that's almost picked off by Music City. Might be Jonathan Schuler, number 7. The difference between the 7 and the 1 is almost nothing in my mind, in my eyes, and it is Schuler. Schuler almost had that ball. There weren't a lot of people between him and the other goal line, so he was looking for a pick 6. Couldn't quite hang on to it, though. We've got 2nd and goal. Ball in the same spot, 8-yard line. Crowd continues to file in here in Muskegon. They've got a good fan base as the team has been around for a while. Music City looking forward to filling the Ag Center when they come home on April 4th. Coaches yelling to the players who can't hear them, and we've got whistles, flags down. The flag was thrown in the end zone. See if it's a formation issue. No, it's another delay of game. 2nd delay of game penalty for the West Michigan Ironmen. We'll back it up 5 yards and do it again. Still call it 2nd and goal, even though the ball is out to the 13-yard line. Sikowski getting his team together, keeping morale high. They've got 3 shots at the end zone. All right, ball on the right side of the field. Sikowski stands back, sends Mike Wynn in motion, looking. Little opening, like the parting of the Red Sea happened in front of Sikowski, but it closed fast as Music City's defense is on fire. Pardon the pun there. Music City's defense, the receivers had spread the defense out a little bit. The MAC linebacker was standing right there. He was a little bit off to the side. Sikowski thought he might have been able to juke him, but that was a mistake on Travis's part. Didn't see which one of the fire made that tackle, but closed the hole fast, closed the gap fast, and we've got 3rd and goal from the 10-yard line. Sikowski back in the pocket, surveys the landscape. Mike Wynn again toward the line. Sikowski drops back, looking, throws it toward the end zone, and that one actually went through the uprights. Couldn't tell if he was throwing it because he didn't think there was anybody open, if he was throwing it away, or if he was trying to throw that one high. Music City's got a couple of shorter defensive backs. West Michigan's got some tall, wide receivers, and he might have been trying to put that one where only the receiver could catch it. Either way, it sails incomplete, and it's 4th and goal from the 10. So West Michigan sends their kicker, Ronald Holtram, out to attempt a field goal. The end zones, by the way, only 8 yards long. They're not 10 yards like in the NFL. The ball's going to be on the 17. We'll add 8 to that. We'll call it a 25-yard field goal. Again, the upright's only 8 yards wide. Timeout is called by Music City. Music City, another timeout. Oh, I'm sorry. It's on Michigan. That was a little bit confusing because the benches are the opposite of the direction the play is going. In other words, the referee pointed at the Music City bench when he called the timeout. But that's the side that's occupied by the Western Michigan offensive unit. So each team in the first 10 minutes of the first quarter has burned a timeout. West Michigan trying to organize the troops for a field goal attempt. It'll be put on the 17-yard line, so we'll call it a 25-yard field goal. That was a quick timeout. Players reassemble. Now the deal is, as I mentioned earlier, if the ball misses the uprights, it'll get caught up in the net, and then it's live. And it is anybody's guess which direction that ball is going to come off the net. Holtram finds his correct angle and puts it up. Well, I thought the ball was live. In this league, the ball is not live. So Music City will take over where West Michigan missed the kick. Score remains 0-0. That was just wide left. It was close. Finding kickers for this league, not all that easy. And the kicker's trying to kick in that more shallow or a more narrow upright. Not the easiest task in the world either. So Music City comes out dodging a bullet, and they're going to have possession at their 10-yard line. I thought for a second they would take over at that. Well, it was at the 17 when he kicked it, but it was at the 10. This is where the ball was at the point that Western Michigan gave it up. Just under 5 minutes to play in the first period. Music City's looked pretty good all the way down, and it is complete. Long pass to Pat Smith and a touchdown, Music City. Holy cow, Smith on the dead run had his defensive back beat by a step. It was laid up there by Settles. It hung up for just a second. Smith had to wait for it. He slowed down long enough to cradle that ball, and nobody was going to stop him. 6-0 Music City scores first in their first game. That's the inaugural touchdown of the Fire. Music City's kicker, Pablo Travasado is out there. Pablo Trav, we'll call him. Watch Pablo kicking the ball around during practice. No problem for him. Man, that one hit dead center through the uprights. You may not have been able to see it as Cody is trying to look through the rafters to get the right-hand side uprights. Tennessee needs to drop the mic and walk off the field. They're up 7-0 on Western Michigan on a long bomb. Beautiful pass. Settles is a remarkably accurate quarterback. Music City definitely got a gem when they picked him up. P.J. Settles, again, out of Rhodes College in Tennessee. Nicest guy in the world, too. Tell you, after interviewing some of the players, and I'll try to post a few more of those pregame interviews when I get a chance, but just a nice group of gentlemen. And a very humble coach. Coach Joe Campbell was just about as nervous as the players were coming into this game, maybe even a little bit more so. He just wanted to put on a good showing for the folks in Nashville. And the one theme that CEO Bobby Devorsny said over and over again in the pregame was that Nashville, of course, just got rocked by a tornado earlier this week. And he wanted to give the fans something to feel happy about in the aftermath of that disaster for Nashville. Let's get a Music City victory. String together a few of them. Give the team a championship. Give the city a championship. All right. Teams reassemble for the kick. Music City with the first lead of 2020, and we'll see if they can hang on. Just under 4 minutes to play, period number 1. Music City with their first kick of 2020. Pablo Travisado queuing it up. And he will send it as far as he can. That goes down and actually hits one of the rafters. I'm not sure what the ground rules are here in Muskegon, so we'll see what they do with the ball. What an interesting architectural feature in the arena. Not really all that relevant when it comes to ice hockey and the Muskegon Lumberjacks, but as kickoffs go, the kickers like to put a little bit of altitude on the ball, and there's not much headroom here in the arena. Mercy Health Arena in Muskegon, Michigan, have 2 sets of beams that come across at roughly the 15-yard lines. The ball will be placed at the 20, near side hash mark. Sikowski getting his receiver into motion. That's Craig Banks. Sikowski in trouble on the near side, and he is swarmed by Music City and taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Number 10 was the first one there. Jordan Keenan, linebacker, wrapped him up, threw him into the wall for a bit of a loss. Ball comes back to the 16-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 14 when we resume. Time ticking down to 3 minutes. West Michigan's got some big boys up front, but Tennessee has been able to put some pressure on Jakowski several times when he's back in his drop. He's been flushed out of the pocket a couple times. They put Craig Banks in motion. Zakowski back, looking on that far side of the field. Nice little move by Dakota Smith as he steps around one of the defensive backs for Tennessee. Looked like Jordan Keenan took him down again. Nice job by Dakota Smith. Zakowski all the way back across the field. Caught his receiver right around the line of scrimmage. Run after catch strong on that one. Not quite a first down. They had a ways to go. That was a pickup of 13. They had 14 to go, so it's 3rd down and 1. Tight yardage situation, so Zakowski's going to be under center. Hands the ball off, nothing doing. Goes right down. Music City all over him. Number 16, Will Johnson. The MAC linebacker sets him on his wallet, and we've got 4th down. Last time, West Michigan tried a field goal, and it was unsuccessful. We'll see what they do with this decision as they're a bit further back. Ball will be placed on the Music City 22. West Michigan keeps Sikowski in. It looks like they'll be going for it on 4th and 2. That running play was immediately stuffed. And once again, despite all the beef up front for West Michigan, Tennessee was all over that running play. We've got offsetting unsportsmanlike penalties. A.J. Butler for West Michigan and Steve Fluker for Tennessee. I think he said it was number 9 for Tennessee. That's Fluker's number. Sometimes the refs get those wrong, but those penalties offset. We're going to go 4th and 2. Big down coming up here for the Music City defense. Sikowski gets it in the shotgun, hits it near side. Holy cow! Marcus Smith is destroyed by Jonathan Schuler. Schuler sniffed that out. Man, he took a running head start from Nashville and just creamed Marcus Smith. Pass was complete. I don't know how Smith hung on to that ball, but he got met with a bang. You could hear the equipment colliding all the way up here in the broadcast area. Big hit by Music City. I keep wanting to say Tennessee. What a play. There was 3rd and 1. They had under a yard to go, and in 2 plays couldn't pick it up. Music City's defense rises to the occasion, and P.J. Settles brings his troops back out on the 25-yard line. Under a minute to play. Settles in the shotgun. This time he sends Dre Hall in, but he's trying to hit Hall. Long pass. Hall's got it for a touchdown. Settles floated it up. Hall in motion all the way across the field. Collects that one. 1 play, 1 touchdown. Bang, bang, 13-0. Holy cow, what a pass by Settles. Both of those stretch pass plays for touchdowns have been just gorgeous touch passes. That one floated in on a cloud. Dre Hall grabbed it, and he was standing on the goal line. Complete pass, touchdown. Let's see if Travis Sato can make this 14-0. Time may run out before they snap the ball. We're at 3 seconds. We'll see if we can get the play off. They do. Travis Sato sends it. Oh, I think that was wide. Yeah, it was wide left. No extra point. At the end of 1. It is 13-0 in favor of Music City. Long pass completions to Pat Smith and Dre Hall put Music City on top on their first game of the season. Arena football tends to be high scoring anyway. I don't know how much West Michigan is going to score if Tennessee's defense continues to hammer away the way they've been so far, as they have been almost immovable. Their front line and their MAC linebacker have been a disaster for the Ironmen to try to solve. The Ironmen's main offensive weapon, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, so far has been the penalty. Western Michigan, during the TV timeout here, they send the dancers out with T-shirts for everybody. The mascot of the Ironmen is, I didn't catch his full name, but Bull is in the name. They've also got the T-shirt gun as the Bull is firing those XL shirts into the crowd. Good crowd here in Western Michigan, and I'll say this too. It smells like Sloppy Joe's up here in the broadcast booth, or nachos or something, and it's making everybody hungry. Intern Cody is thinking he's got to get a better paying job than this. He's got to load up on some nachos at halftime. If only he got paid, he said. Intern Cody doing a great job. I'm able to watch a little bit of what he's doing on the screen next to me as I've got the playback on the computer screen. He is setting the bar high for any camera people in the future for the Music City Fire. All right, a fresh 15 minutes on the clock. Travis Sato tees it up in the middle of the field, and he is able to put that one under the rafters. It is fielded and run straight up the gut by Mike Wynn, and Wynn takes a bevy of Fire players with him. They stack him at midfield, a little bit beyond midfield, frankly. Nice return by Wynn. He went from a couple yards deep, about 30 yards into the field. The ball will be placed at the Music City 21. It's a 50-yard field from goal line to goal line. So the center point, rather than the 50-yard line, is the 25-yard line. So 25 yards on each side of that stripe with an 8-yard end zone. And Zukowski brings his players back. Puts Craig Banks into motion and tries to find him. Way overthrown. That one goes into the stands. And here's another quirk that's actually kind of cool for people coming to a game, and that is, in our league, if the ball goes into the stands, it's yours to keep. Kind of cool. In the NFL, they tend to come back. Soccer, they always come back. In the Arena Football League, the AAL, the American Arena League, which is what we are a part of, you get to walk home with the ball. So Zukowski maybe hitting one of his friends or neighbors, possibly a family member in the stands. We're going to do it 2nd and 10. Craig Banks again in motion and again is overthrown. Zukowski has that calibrated a little bit high. He's got to bring it down if he's going to complete some of these passes. Keandre Craig Banks is 6'4". He is a big dude, 6'4", 220, and he's quick, but even he can't reach some of these. It looks like it is one of the strategies, and it's possible West Michigan might have talked about this in the locker room before the game, that some of the DBs for Music City are shorter than the receivers. So if you aim high, you put your man in a position alone to make the catch. But so far, Zukowski hasn't been able to find that ample middle ground where his guy can reach it. 3rd and 10, Zukowski back again. He's standing behind midfield, taking a look to the left. He's got a man wide open, and that's Keandre Craig Banks. Craig Banks, there was a blown coverage out there for Music City. A miscommunication by the defensive backs, and that left Keandre Craig Banks wide open. I mean, the nearest one of the Music City Fire was probably close to the bench. Well, that was disappointing as West Michigan jumps on the board, 13-6 now in favor of Music City. And out on the field comes Ronald Holtram to try for the extra point. He missed a field goal earlier in the game, so that might be in his head. Let's see if we can Noonan him and make him miss this one. We could not. Boy, that was dead center, right down the middle. Little Caddyshack reference there for those of you who are roughly my age. Anyone who is growing up with arena football has no idea what happened in 1981, but I will continue to pepper you with such references as I get more comfortable calling these games. Little different from the broadcast standpoint, too. I'm having a good time, though. How often do you get to work next to a guy named Cody? I'll answer that question. Never when I was in high school. I'm not sure there were any kids named Cody when I was in high school. There were no Dakotas. I don't think there were any Ashleys or Brittany's either, now that I think back on it. All right, Music City going to receive the kick. I'll continue to spin off into a memory-fueled reverie. One of the things I'm noticing that should have been a no-brainer, but I'm just now catching up to, is when those chunks of the wall fell down earlier, it's not because the wall was getting discombobulated. The wall has to be openable and closable to allow players off and on the bench. Onside kick, knocked down by Music City. Big number 44, Deontay Garrett, got his mitts on it, knocked it down, and landed on it. Nice job by Garrett. Deontay Garrett, one of the strategies in the Arena League are onside kicks. They do have to go 10 yards, just like in the NFL. Deontay Garrett, not necessarily known for his hands, but he was able to grab the ball. He didn't hang on to it at first, but it fell right in front of him, so Garrett was able to drop on it, and we've got good field position for Music City. We're under 11 minutes to play in the second quarter, still 13-7. PJ settles, sends Pat Smith into motion. That one gets whacked down. Nice play by Nick Deckraker. I like that name. Sounds like a James Bond villain. Nick Deckraker. No, Mr. Bond. I want you to die. Deckraker. Oh, I'm thinking of Moonraker. That's why it sounds like James Bond. Thank you. People in the booth are very helpful. All right. No problem. 2nd and 10. Settles his players down. That's not the last time this year you're going to hear that one out of me. Puts Pat Smith in motion and fires near side completion to number 11, Mazio Rhodes. Mazio, one of the Music City Fire that hung with me for a bit for a pregame interview. Music City they got some cool cats on their team. If you can come down to a game, get to the Ag Center. Get to the Expo Center just on the south side of Franklin. Get off on Paytonsville Road and you're there. A lot of good guys you can meet and greet after the game. Get some autographs. Let your kids meet some big dudes, too. There's a few guys over 3 bills on Music City. By the way, Deontay Garrett, one of them. Settles and back. Smith and Settles is going to take off. He's got the end zone in his sights, and he runs it in. Pat Smith was in motion, drew the defense toward the middle of the field to follow him, and that opened up the right side, and that looked like a set play from the word go. Settles ran it all the way down, and Music City jumps out to a 19-7 lead. 9:06 now, 9:05 remains in the second period. We're going to see if we can get GM Andre Bean up here in the broadcast booth during halftime to talk a little bit about his point of view and getting this team together for the fans in Middle Tennessee. Pablo Travasado, been a busy guy. He's out for the extra point, puts it up, and he hit that one. Missed the last one, but that one went right through the uprights. So of the 3 extra points, he's hit 2 right in the bullseye. One of them he missed left. 20-7 now in favor of the Fire. And the Fire, wait for it, is on fire. Oh, Steve-O, another good one. All right, foreheads are being slapped all over the world right now. We are broadcasting to potentially 7 billion people around the world on the YouTube. And yes, I'm old enough that I put the word "the" in front of YouTube. And I live in Tennessee, so I put the word "the" in front of Walmart also. Mostly ironically, but I like doing it. 20-7, and this is the kind of scintillating and insightful talk you'll get during the breaks from me. Travasado going to key it up again. He's going to go middle of the end zone. You can go to either side or in the middle. Travasado going middle. He did hit the uprights, and by that I mean the rafters on one kick, so he's going to keep this one low altitude again. 3rd touchdown of the season. That one ran in by P.J. Settles. Low line drive caught on the dead run. Nice job by Western Michigan to grab that one. Wait a minute, I got the wrong roster here. Sorry, Mike Wynn. Right down Broadway and then cut it left. He made it past midfield almost to the 20-yard line of Music City. Mike Wynn been a busy boy so far here this evening. All right, Zakowski, sorry about that. I put a phantom J in there. A couple of last-second instructions from one of the coaching staff for West Michigan. And the Ironmen assembled the line of scrimmage. The ball is at the 23-yard line of Music City. 23 yards to go, 1st and 10, under 8 minutes. Music City with the lead. Zakowski looking deep. He's got no one to throw it to, and he goes. Oh, he got it away as he was in the grasp. Let's see if that was legal. The coaches next to me for Music City are calling for intentional grounding. Yes, it is. The flag goes down. We'll hear the call. Well, I thought that was going to be a little louder than it was. The referee did call intentional grounding. He was in the grasp. In all the excitement, I forgot to look at the number of the Music City player that had him wrapped up. I thought he was going down, and he just kind of threw it into the stands. There wasn't a receiver within probably 5 or 6 yards of that ball. So they move it back. Full 10 yards, 2nd and 20. From the 16, 17-yard line of Western Michigan. They've got a long ways to go. All the way around goes Mike Wynn. He comes through the right-hand side. Takes out one of the Music City players. The pass is completed. Music City wants a fumble, and they're going to call, I think they're going to call Music City for this one. We'll see. Marcus Smith with the reception. He got dragged down by several of the defensive backs. We'll see what the call is. Music City was quite animated at the end of that play. Referee about to signal. All right, there's an illegal block. They're calling a personal foul on West Michigan for that block. As Wynn went into motion, he kind of came out and put a chop block on one of probably the jack linebacker for Music City. He's being called for that one. On the board, it says 2nd and 23. Penalty must have been marked from the point of the penalty. I'm not sure how they calculated that one. Win in motion again, all the way across the middle. Zakowski threw it up. And, man, number 15, Michael Green for Music City, had that one in both hands, and it ended up coming out. Michael Green banging the sides of his head with both hands. I'm not sure how many heads he's got in that helmet. I'm guessing it's only one. Banging both sides of his head with his hands. He wanted that one. I don't know if he could have scored on that one, but he would have gotten some yardage. He was in the middle of the field, and he would have had a pretty decent head of steam built up before anybody touched him. A bullet dodge by West Michigan on that one. Zakowski has had a shaky first half at quarterback. It's now 3rd down and 23, and they've got an acre to cover to get. Timeout is being called by Tennessee. Michael Green. I'm sorry, that's not Green. That's Will Johnson, the MAC linebacker, calling for that timeout. 2, 4, 6. They had the right number of guys on the field. Either way, Tennessee calls their second timeout in this first half. 6:10 remains on the clock. We are eye level with the scoreboard, and yet all the vital numbers are invisible to me because there's a light batten hanging down between Cody and myself, and the time, and then the yardage and down indicators. So I've got to kind of do like a yoga move. It's a good thing I'm flexible. I'm very bendy, and that allows me to go like Rex Reed from the Fantastic Four or Elastigirl from The Incredibles and see the clock and keep you updated. Incidentally, if you're keeping track at home, 6:10 remaining in period number 2. Still 20-7 Music City. Touchdowns by Smith, Hall, and Settles. 2 passes. Settles been involved in all 3. Pass for 2, run for 1. And we're ready to get underway. 3rd and 23. Zakowski in the shotgun, near side hash. As per usual, Wynn goes into motion. Zakowski flushes left, looks back across the field. He's got a receiver open, able to make a move. Runs it in to Jonathan Schuler. Schuler put him into the wall. And that's going to be really close to a first down. They're calling it a first down. Boy, he got just enough yardage. He was able to evade one tackle, and that's what sprung him for the first down. I wasn't not sure which defensive back that was for Music City, but he didn't have an easy job. He had a blocker on him, was trying to fight through the blocker and take the receiver. Unable to do so, the second man put him out, and we've got a first down. Zakowski drops back, throws it across the middle. He's got his man. That's Mike Wynn for a touchdown. Wynn in motion, darted all the way across the field. Defensive back for Tennessee was about a step behind him. And West Michigan pulls within 7. It's 20-13. Clock is running. We're going to cross the 5-minute mark. Michigan sends out Holtram, Ronald Holtram, for another point after touchdown attempt. He is 1 for 1 so far. They've only gotten 1 touchdown. Now they've scored the second. He gets his angle. And it's blocked by Music City. The ball would have been live, but it was touched by a fan. As with the NFL, if they block a field goal, that ball is live. The fan, it would have probably gone into the stands, frankly, if the fan wouldn't have tried to field it. because the ball is yours to keep, the fans a little more aggressive around the field to try to get that souvenir. Either way, nice block by Tennessee. Somebody on the line skied and was able to get a couple of paws on that one. It looked like the linebacker didn't catch the number. The numbers are really hard to read on the Music City uniforms. I will have a pair of binoculars for our next game, and if you're wondering when that next game is, it's going to be another road game. It's at Indianapolis on Sunday, March 22nd at 2:30 Eastern Time, 1:30 p.m. Central, or Nashville time. Join us for that one. Fun games, 20-13 in favor of Music City. So far, West Michigan hasn't been able to stop the offense very effectively. So we'll see if Music City can march down. There's about 4.5 remaining, 4:36 to go, period number 2. Try to get GM Andre Bean or the team owner, Bobby Devorsny, up here for an interview at halftime, give you a little bit of insight into the mind of the ownership group, the brass, the boss, the administration. See what they have to say. There was some debate before the game on whether Andre Bean or Bobby Devorsny is more camera-friendly. That ball bounces all over the place. Tennessee is able to just get it out of the end zone, and we might get a flag at the end of that play. We did not. After the whistle, it looked like Music City's player was lifted and thrown to the ground. I may be a bit biased in my interpretation of what happened, but boy, that on the 1-yard line, referee said he did make it out of the end zone. It'll be placed at the 1-yard line. They just showed the replay on the scoreboard. He was thrown down well after the whistle. Could have been unnecessary roughness. No call. We'll play on. P.J. Settles comes out. Music City's got 49 yards to go to score. So far, that hasn't been all that problematic. Nashville's had a couple of long bombs that they've completed. One a post pattern, one right on the edge, just on the corner of the end zone. There's no pylons on the ends of the end zone here. There's just a wall. I guess they bring the ball out to the 5. There are a few quirky rules that I'm not familiar with. Referee did announce that it was on the 1-yard line, but we're going to start on the 5. Settles keeps this one, tries to make it around the end and does. Runs smack into one of his own players. That's unfortunate. Dre Hall was down blocking downfield. I didn't want to use the word down twice in that sentence. Dre Hall was blocking downfield, and as he turned to see where Settles was, Settles ran right into the back of him. All for naught, however, as Music City is called for holding. Holding is the call, half the distance to the goal line. It'll be 1st and 12.5. Ball's now on the 2.5-yard line. Game has had quite a few penalties, given that the clock runs for most of the time. Clock's still running. We went under 4 minutes.
Come on over, Boyd.
Coaching staff, you might be able to hear from Western Michigan yelling to the defense to make sure to cover. Boy, that receiver for Tennessee, they're calling illegal procedure, but he was about 4 steps offside. The motion man made it way past the line of scrimmage by the time the ball was snapped. That's one of the things the offensive unit works on extensively in practice. They call that on P.J. Settles. Quarterback is in charge of the snap count, but they work on the timing of that play. As you can imagine, when you've got a receiver, and these guys are quick, when they're running full steam toward the line of scrimmage, you've got to get that ball snapped at precisely the right time to keep him onside. PA announcer getting the crowd in the game. Once again, Dre Hall in motion. Completion to Hall. Looks like he was driven into the wall. Hall didn't think so. He took off running, but we're going to have a stoppage, and the ball will be placed at the 12. It'll be it'll be 3rd down now. 3rd down and 3. Pickup of 9. Settles to Hall. Players kind of milling about the ball there. West Michigan's got some beef up on their defensive line, too. When Settles takes off around the end, the linemen don't have a shot at catching him. He's going to get a few yards just with his feet. Settles is going to start from the shotgun. High side, far side in motion. He comes through the middle. Settles taking a look. Timing play. Oh, that's knocked down by one of the Western Michigan defensive backs. John Ross gets a hand on that one and knocks it down. Pass was intended for Dre Hall, number 5. That was one of the plays that scored a touchdown for Tennessee earlier in the game. Sorry, that was number 6, Brian Foy, for Western Michigan, not John Ross. Third down. It is third down. 3rd and 3. Thought that was third down last time. It was second. Whipped out into the flat. Tennessee moves it down, and I think we're going to have enough for a first down. That's grabbed by Mazio Rhodes, number 11. PJ hit him in the flat. Rhodes just put his head down and ran for it, and he got the first down. Minute 44 remaining. We're under the 2-minute mark in the second quarter. Mazio Rhodes with a good run after catch. And Music City is in control. PJ Settles, near side hash mark, gets his receiver in motion, and we're underway. Settles looking, cutting across the middle. He's got his man. Sliding play, David Tyree. Tyree was the guy on the Giants that caught that pass against his helmet against Tom Brady. That was when the Patriots were going to go undefeated, but they ran into the Giants in the Super Bowl and lost their only time that year in the most important game of the year. Timeout is potentially the call here. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't look up at the clock. Hey, so here's another something for you. Arena League versus NFL or college. Instead of a 2-minute warning, they give a 1-minute warning. So the clock stops at 1 minute. Tennessee is marching. They have crossed the midfield point, the midfield stripe, the midfield marker. They've crossed midfield. It's on the 24-yard line. They're not going to need a whole lot more for Travis Sato to be able to hit a field goal. Music City's got a good kicker. He has missed one of the extra points, but don't hold that against him. He's got some range in that leg of his. Travis Sato comes from Cumberland University, where I believe, if the rumors I've heard are true, he was a soccer player for Cumberland, now kicking for Music City. I could be wrong, and I apologize to the Travis Sato family if I have besmirched young Pablo. All right, 1 minute to go till halftime. PJ Settles gets everybody assembled. We're not going to have a back in motion, I think. Coach Chris out on the field and quite animated for Music City. All right, Settles drops back. Ball is ostensibly right in the middle of the field and hands it off. Number 1, Pat Smith, tried to come through and drive forward. It looks like Music City just wants to keep the ball in the center of the field. Pat Smith able to pick up a few. Actually, he picked up a few more than well, no, wait a minute. The board says 3rd and 2. There's only 36 seconds left, so Music City's got to do something kind of quick and then get the clock stopped to get Travis Sato onto the field. We're under 30 seconds now. Settles puts his man in motion. That is Pat Smith. Settles threw the ball to where he thought, oh, I'm sorry. There was a receiver in the corner that I couldn't see. I was blocked by the Mountain Dew bottle of one of the West Michigan coaches. Looks like incomplete is the call, and it might have been a little more exciting than that. The clock stops with 15.5. There are a couple of shadowy pockets on the field that I am blind to. From my vantage point, there wasn't a receiver over there, but apparently there was. All right, 15.5, Settles again in the shotgun. Ball remains at midfield. It's 4th down. So this is do or die for Music City. Settles takes a look around. The referees have to get organized. Get the coaches back out of the line of fire. Someone called a timeout. Well, now the referee is about as confused as I am because he said Nashville timeout. That is their third timeout and the final one of the game. So the Fire have taken all three of their timeouts during the first half, and Coach Campbell is out talking to the referees about that last play. He's pointing over to the corner where the incompletion was called, and I wish I could tell you what happened. Cody, did you get the incompletion on camera?
Yeah, I did.
All right. So you guys all saw it. I didn't. You can tell me what happened. All right, quick timeouts here in the American Arena League. Referees calling both teams to order again. All right, it's 4th and 2. This is it. 15.5 remaining. Settles gets everybody where he wants them to be, and it looks like Mazzio is going to be in motion on the near side. Referees said, hey, let's not play yet. Another timeout. 5 of the 6 allotted timeouts for the two teams have been taken in this first half. As Michigan takes their second, they have one left for the rest of the game. Music City doesn't have any. Looks like they wanted to see what formation Music City was going to come out in following that timeout, and now they're going to adjust their defense accordingly. Fans getting a little bit impatient with the timeouts. They want this last 15 seconds to go and see what's what. Michigan's going to get the ball to start the second half, and so Tennessee would do well to score here, get a couple of scores ahead. PA announcer trying to get everybody zipped up, ready to rock and roll, and we've got a different formation now for Tennessee. As Settles is under center and everyone jumps off side for Western Michigan. This is going to give us another 5 yards. The whole left side of the defensive line jumped on that one. I don't know what the discussion is. It didn't look like anyone on Music City moved. They did not. It is an offside. It's not an automatic first down. That 5 yards puts the ball past the first down marker, but it is neither here nor there because there's only 15 seconds remaining in the half. That does give a little bit of extra. This is about Settle's range. All right, all three receivers to the left. Mazzio takes a little do-si-do around Dre Hall. The pass goes up. It hits both the receiver and the defender ends up wrestling it away. Pat Smith had that one and the defender in his arms. Nice play by Western Michigan to get in the way. That looked like it was 15, Jamal Abbey, that got his body between the ball and the receiver, and there was a fight for that ball. Settles comes over. He's got 8.4 left. That play took around 7 seconds, so it's possible Music City could squeeze off a couple of plays here. They got to go quick. Ball still is in the center of the field. Pat Smith is going to go into motion on the near side. Dre Hall lined up on the far side. Mazzio stationary on the near side. It's snapped, settles back, sends it, and another good defensive play by the same guy on Western Michigan. Jamal Abbey got his hand out and poked that ball into the stands. We get one more shot at it. It's 3rd down and 10, but this is going to do it for the half. Music City's got 18 yards to go to make this one pay off. The good news for Settles is he has all the time he needs. If he gets flushed out of the pocket, time ticking down to 0 doesn't really matter because the half doesn't end until the play is over. Last-minute instructions by the Music City coaching staff. Settles gets everybody where he wants them. Looks like Mazzio's going in motion on this one, far side. Mazzio Rhodes runs to the line. He was well offside, but the ball goes through Settles, and that'll do it. Settles might have been rattled a little bit because it looked like Mazzio was well past the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped, but it's all immaterial. Settles fumbled that one, but landed on his own drop, and time runs out. So at the end of the first half of the 2020 season, Music City has shown flashes of brilliance. And they've not really been bad on any of the plays. There's a blown coverage in the secondary on one of the plays. I guess that could be an area in need of improvement. But otherwise, it's been a solid first half. The defense, well, I'll tell you what, West Michigan had a 3rd and 1, and they weren't able to convert. 2 straight shots against that Music City snarling defense, and they weren't able to convert. Music City got the ball back, and in one play scored a touchdown. So we'll see what we get at halftime. I'm going to stop yakking if there's a halftime show. Young Cody will put the camera wherever it seems most appropriate. Actually, I may shut it down and divide these halves on YouTube. That's probably what I'll do. So we're going to take a 15-minute break. If either of Andre Bean or Bobby Devorsny comes up for an interview, I'll definitely start the stream again. But if they don't, we'll catch you as the third period is about to begin. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening, everybody. Steve Olivas for Cody the Intern saying we'll be back as soon as halftime is over. Grab a snack, everyone.